Hello, friends, and welcome into NFL Daily. I am your host, Tom Downey. Just me on today's show. No Mitchell Renz. He is off due to lack of hustle. However, we have quite a few notable rumors that we want to dive into with the NFL draft just days away, including the NFL conducting their little mock draft test trial run to make sure that everything was working properly. And guess what happened? It didn't end up working all that great. There was a glitch with the very first pick. Something didn't go according to plan, and the Bengals had issues. Apparently wasn't on their end, but that is still worth mentioning on that front. Then on top of that, apparently, the GMs didn't all unmute themselves or mute themselves, so there was a lot of talking going on because apparently you can run a multi-million-dollar organization, but that doesn't mean you're going to get the audio and everything set up correctly. So after a bit of a rough start, apparently things were smoother after that, although one coach apparently had internet issues because their children, or his children I should say, was taking up too much of the bandwidth on their iPads. So we will see how it goes. I would venture to say somebody runs into issues during the actual NFL draft. Now on to more of the rumor side as it relates to prospects and players. How about Tua and the New England Patriots? Peter King in his NFL mock draft had the Patriots moving up to take a falling Tua. The medical situation around Tua, and I'm surprised it took national media this long to at least start pushing it as a theory. We don't know where he's going to go. The reality is, with not normal medical access to players, Tua's a wild card in this year's draft. If the Dolphins and Chargers pass on him, and I'm not convinced that they're going to, but if they do pass on him, well, they could be in for a bit of a fall. In this particular mock draft, King had the Patriots getting Tua at number 13 overall, giving up, assets this year and even a potential future first as well. The issue for the Patriots is that, I don't know what they're going to end up doing. I think the Patriots as a team, much like Tua is a wild card, as a team, the Patriots are a wild card this year. I don't know what move they'll end up making. They could go in a variety of different routes. They could go quarterback or ignore that spot either or trade down. But quarterback is a need for the Patriots. And Tua is, of course, a wild card. There is risk there for certain. If he goes to the Patriots, who thinks he ends up being a great success in the NFL? Fit matters in the NFL. Deshaun Kaiser never had a chance because he went to a bad Cleveland organization. Meanwhile, look, Patrick Mahomes was the perfect fit in the end. So I don't know what happens to Tua. It's a real wild card. So I want to hear from you guys. Where do you think Tua ends up being drafted in this year's 2020 NFL draft? Is it the Dolphins, Chargers, or does he go on a little bit of a fall? I will make this the pinned comment on YouTube. So if you get an ad break here, scroll down and make your best guess right there. Let's move on now to Justin Herbert. More quarterbacks discussion here. And this one's interesting, right? Maybe you saw it today. Herbert has met and been researched by the New York Giants fairly heavily, which is intriguing because the Giants, picking number 4 overall this year, took Daniel Jones at number 6 overall last year, even though not that many people actually liked it. Now, I think the initial reaction was, wait, what? And then it became, the Giants are trying to elicit a trade. That's possible. If it is, it's not very well thought out by the Giants because what you're saying is, we like Justin Herbert maybe. You should trade up and get him from us. But if that was the case, the Lions, who want to trade down one pick ahead of them, could have interest there. I don't think that the Giants want to take Justin Herbert or at 4 that they really plan to here. Although I will make note, Charles Robinson said that Herbert is the number 1 quarterback on the Giants board, which isn't a big surprise because Herbert as a prospect is what the Giants tried to tell you that Daniel Jones was this past year. What I think this is, the Giants hired Joe Judge. The Patriots over the years have normally interviewed all the top quarterbacks as like pre-scouting report work to investigate and get a better feel for them if and when they end up playing them or they become a free agent down the road. So it's like future prep work. That's my guess on what's going on here with Herbert and the Giants, but that one is still a pretty interesting nugget there. So who drafts Justin Herbert? I think Dolphins and Chargers make the most sense there. If there isn't a run on quarterbacks in that 5-6 range, he could also be in for a tumble. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Let's talk trades now, and boy, there are some big ones on this particular show. Leonard Fournette, you probably saw this earlier because we mentioned it on the channel earlier in the week. The Jags have had trade talks on Fournette. The latest update here is that the Jags went back to teams this week because there weren't any takers for Fournette. And my suspicion here, and this kind of ties in with I'll call it a leak from Jacksonville to NFL Network, was that they were upset with Fournette, with his attitude. He'd been late to meetings. He falls asleep during them. You don't want that to get out if you're trying to trade a player. That's not something you let leak from your organization. You let it leak, though, if you're trying to make it a bit of a wake-up call to Fournette, who's been pretty vocal on social media, not quite as much as Yannick Ngakoue, who we'll talk more about, but he's been vocal. Now, if he does get dealt some teams that make sense, shout out Harrison Graham for putting up his list. We'll get to that more in a second. Fournette does carry value. The issue is that the running back trade market has not been very good for quite some time. Even for Fournette coming off I'll call it a heavy usage year, where he had a ton of yards, but the average wasn't that great, was actively involved in the passing game as well. It's intriguing. Maybe a team like the Bills wants to have interest there. Fournette will certainly be a name to monitor because the Jags very clearly, except for Yannick, and he's not happy about it, they are very clearly attempting to overhaul that entire roster. In general, by the way, normally you do that after you blew up your front office and coaching staff. The Jags doing it 1 year before. Now, we mentioned those Fournette destinations. If you want more on that and some more in-depth analysis of it, check out the channel. Harrison Graham put together a list there. And, of course, if you're not already, well, then subscribe. We will be live for the entirety of the NFL draft. We're not going to log off midway through day 3 like some people. We're not going to interview coaches on day 3 either. No. We're going to break down all of the picks, all of the players that get selected. We'll have at least discussion on all of them. That way, you know who your team just picked, even if you haven't heard of them before. So hit that big red button and subscribe today to NFL or to Chat Sports here on YouTube. I promise you guys, no one will keep you more updated on the NFL draft, both now and all the way through than anyone better here than we will at Chat Sports. So if you have not already, hit that big red button and subscribe. Moving on now to Jamal Adams. Look, more trade talk here. Jets GM Joe Douglas, amid all of the trade rumors and the fact that Adams is going to show up for the voluntary, and Douglas emphasized the voluntary part in this discussion of voluntary offseason program, he says, look, the plan is to keep Adams, but they're going to listen to all trade offers. So it's the right thing to say for internally, as a GM, if you don't listen to any and all trade offers, you're not doing your job. You have to listen to anyone that comes to offer, because there hasn't been any new offers on Jamal Adams, but the rumors continue to persist. And he says they'll revisit extension talks, or I should say go to extension talks after the NFL draft. I think it's a little weird, though, from New York's perspective. You have your best player who is ready for an extension. And the sooner you get extensions done, the more money you end up saving in the long term. So to not go about that earlier feels a little weird and a little bit interesting to me. So will the Jets trade Adams? Type Y for yes and for no. I don't think it happens during the draft, but I'll tell you what. If we get to, say, September-ish, August, and extension talks are not going well, then I think it might make a little bit more sense for the Jets to shop Adams, or at least be more willing to listen to the offers that come their way. But if things go weird in the draft, never say never. Also got a deal for you guys from our friends over at Fanatics. NFL jerseys, these Nike ones, are on sale for under $60. So go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. Whole bunch of teams, whole bunch of styles in terms of the color rush and non-color rush. And of course, colors as well. You can get the home and the away at chatsports.com/jersey deal. Now, one thing you'll need to do once you go there is you'll need to scroll down a little bit to find the ones actually on sale, because they have a whole bunch of the new NFL jerseys, the Patriots, the Falcons, the Browns. Those ones are not on sale. So if you want the cheaper ones, just scroll down a little bit, or you can sort by your favorite NFL team. More trade notes here this time around the San Francisco 49ers and draft in general, so we'll do both right now. This should not come as a surprise, but the report from ESPN, the Niners are open to moving down in round 1. that's almost a duh type of report right there, because they have number 13, number 31, and then nothing after that until the late 5th round, number 156 overall. Or I guess that's actually the mid-5th round, excuse me. That is a significant gap to go without picks. So the Niners, guess what they want to do? They want to trade one of those first, move down, and acquire extra draft capital on day 2 and the early part of day 3. Now, the Niners are not the only team linked in trade rumors right now. Denver, they're reportedly interested in moving up. Atlanta also looking to move up, with one report saying in the top 5. I don't really buy that one, but I do think they want one of those impact defensive linemen or a cornerback if they can get C.J. Henderson. Meanwhile, the Browns are very willing to move down. Maybe a Denver-Cleveland trade in particular could end up making some sense for both of those teams. Now, but back to the Niners here. Not only have they been linked to trading down in the draft, they've also been linked now to selling players. Now, we'll break them all down because some make sense, some are lukewarm, and one's stupid and not going to happen. But the report from Michael Lombardi of The Athletic was that Dee Ford, Quan Alexander, Jaquiski Tart, and then Marquise Goodwin are all available. So we'll start with Dee Ford here. I would be very surprised. You do save money, but you just traded and signed for him. You're going to give him a year in? Doubt that one. Marquise Goodwin, though, is available. The Niners have, and John Elway said it today, have publicly said that they've been shopped, or not John Elway, John Lynch have publicly said they've shopped him. Normally when teams do that, it means there hasn't been that much interest in trying to drum up more. So we'll see what happens there. I would prefer to keep Tart, but he's only got 1 year left, so you could sell high now. Meanwhile, Quan Alexander, that part of the report is BS. They're not trading Quan Alexander because that's not a typo, folks. You eat $9 million in dead money. So guess what's not going to happen? The Niners, trying to allegedly clear up cap space, are not going to reduce their cap space by $9 million. That's dumb. If you believe that part of the report, I got some beachfront property out in North Dakota to sell you. It's just not going to happen. All right, the Patriots, by the way, have also released their jerseys. You saw the Edelman one earlier a little bit ago. So I want you guys to grade the Patriots jerseys for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Now, they kind of went more towards the color rush style, especially those blues. I kind of like the blues. They work for me. The stripes on the shoulders don't look that bad. I think the blue looks sleek. I like it. My issue is the whites. I didn't think the whites really needed changing. I hate the stripes on the shoulders there. I don't think it's a very good look. So I think the blues work. I'll give the blues a B or an A. I think overall those are in pretty good shape. But the whites really bring that one down. So I'm going to give that one a little bit more. Maybe in total ends up looking like a C. But keep your votes coming in the comments section.